Tēnā koutou katoa e te whānau. Nau mai haere mai ki tēnei wānanga Mauri Tau, Mauri Ora. A warm welcome to each of you joining us today, wherever you may be, at home, in the office, or in between spaces. It's an honour to hold this time with you. Ko Kandace tōku ingoa. My name is Kandace. We are gathering during a sacred and meaningful season, matariki, a time of reflection, remembrance, renewal, a time to pause and reconnect to our values, to our whānau, to our purpose, and to ourselves. For some, this might be a season of change. Personally, professionally, or emotionally, there may be things you're letting go of and things you're preparing to welcome in. Whatever you are carrying today, all of you is welcome here. This wānanga is not a training. It's not about fixing or solving. It's a space to ground, to realign, and to gently explore what it means to support our hauora, our holistic well-being in the middle of change. We'll be drawing on mātauranga Māori, Māori knowledge systems, and using the wisdom of maramataka, the Māori lunar calendar, tikanga, and rongoā to guide us through. Before we move further, I invite you to pause, take a moment, and let's breathe together. Ha ki roto, inhale gently through your nose. And ha ki waho, exhale through your mouth. Again, ha ki roto, inhale. And ha ki waho, let it go. Let us begin with a karakia to clear the path ahead, to ground us in purpose, and to acknowledge the Māori we each bring into this space. Whakataka te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te tonga, kia mākina ki uta, kia mātaratara ki tai, e hi ake ana te atakura, he tio, he huka, he hauhu, ti hei Mauri Ora. Before we begin our deeper kōrero, I want to give you a sense of what you'll take away from this session. I know your time is valuable. Many of you have come through a demanding season, professionally, personally, emotionally. So this is not a heavy session. This is a gentle one, a space to reflect, reset, and quietly recalibrate. By the end of our time together, you will have, 1, checked in with your own Māori. This is a core concept in Te Ao Māori. By becoming more aware of our energetic state, whether we're feeling grounded, scattered, withdrawn, or alert, we create more space to respond intentionally rather than react automatically. This is not just useful personally, but professionally, especially during times of change. 2, experience a Māori wellbeing model, Te Ao Rauropi. This Biosphere of Rongoā Māori isn't theoretical. It's deeply practical. It shows us that well-being isn't an add-on. It already exists in our surroundings, in people and protocols and values. You'll see how this model can support workplace cultures that uplift Māori and nurture hauora, well-being. And 3, identified one small but powerful intention, whether it's bringing a moment of stillness into your day, checking in with a colleague with more presence, or aligning your team's rhythm with the maramataka. We'll close by naming one simple step toward Mauri Ora. Small doesn't mean insignificant. A single realignment can ripple far beyond you. This session isn't about fixing yourself. It's not about productivity. It's not even about outcomes. It's about pausing long enough to notice where you are and where you want to be. It's about returning to rhythm, yours, your whānau's, your organization's, and choosing a next step that feels nourishing, not draining. You don't need to be at your peak to be in Mauri Tau. Even in moments of low energy or uncertainty, you can still move in alignment. Mauri Tau reminds us that stillness holds its own power. If you walk away with only one thing, let it be this: your Māori is not a performance, it's a pulse. And this session is a chance to hear it more clearly. Today, I want to share a little about the maramataka, the traditional Māori lunar calendar. It's not just a way of tracking days. It's a mātauranga system grounded in careful observation of te taiao, the natural world. Our tupuna used it to guide decisions about when to plant, when to harvest, when to wānanga, and when to rest. Each moon phase carries its own energy and message. Some days are full of action, times to speak up, move forward, and be seen. And others, like today, kore rawea, or kore whakatehi, at times to pause. These are the kore nights, literally translated as void or fruitless. They are not for striving or producing. They are for noticing, for resting, for being still long enough to feel what's moving below the surface. The tohu signs of kore remind us energy is low. It's not the day to push forward or force outcomes. It's a day to clean the waka, not to launch it. To eat lightly from tāne, not from the heavy sources of rongo. And most importantly, to reaffirm your wairua connection. So if you feel tired today or a little uncertain, know that you're not out of sync. You're in sync with the moon. In Te Ao Māori, your value doesn't depend on your energy output. You don't have to be on all the time. Kore teaches us that stillness has a purpose. It's part of the cycle, a chance to prepare for the tide turning. So instead of rushing ahead, maybe ask, what is this quiet moment making space for? What clarity might emerge if I let things settle? Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is not act. Just listen, just hold space, just reconnect. Let's carry the tohu of kore with us as we move through today, gently, spaciously, and in tune with what this moment is asking. In both work and life, we're often taught to value speed, to move fast, produce more, keep going. But the kore phase of the maramataka offers a different message. This is a time of low energy, a space between what has been and what is yet to come. Kore invites us to pause, not because we are unproductive, but because there is wisdom in stillness. The whakatauki reminds us, mā te marama ka mōhio. Through reflection comes understanding. And it's that understanding, not urgency, that leads us to clarity, insight, and ultimately oranga, well-being. In a workplace context, that might look like stepping away from constant decision-making to reassess what really matters. It might mean allowing conversations to breathe instead of rushing toward outcomes. In life, it could mean choosing to reset without guilt, listening to your intuition, or simply making space for silence. Kore teaches us that not all growth is visible. Sometimes it happens in the unseen, in the shifting, sorting, and surrendering, trusting that this time of less doing is still deeply generative. This is not a pause from progress. It is progress through pause. Let's hold to that rhythm as we continue. Mauri Tau doesn't begin with doing, it begins with noticing. This wānanga offers a space to tune in, to reflect, to listen, and on a gentle notice what sits beneath the surface. On a kore day, when outward energy is low and clarity is still forming, we are reminded that not acting can be a powerful step toward alignment. Let us carry the tohu of kore and walk gently through this session. So this is a little bit interactive. We'll begin by checking in with our Mauri, our energetic state, our life force. In Te Ao Māori, Mauri is not static, it flows. It dips, it rises. It is affected by our environment, our relationship, our work, our rest, and how we care for ourselves and each other. So wherever you are, take a comfortable seated position. If you feel safe to do so, close your eyes or lower your gaze. Take a slow breath in and out. Bring your attention to your body, your tinana, your wairua, your hinengaro. Ask yourself, where is my Mauri sitting right now? For the purpose of this wānanga, I've chosen 3 states for us to focus on. The 3 Mauri states are Mauri moi. a restful or withdrawn state. You might feel heavy, still, tired, or emotionally flat, a place of conservation. Mauri Ora, an awakening state. Perhaps you're adjusting to change, emerging from a challenge, or finding your rhythm. Mauri Ora, a vibrant state, energized, creative, connected, and ready to engage. You may sit firmly in one of these or float between two. There is no right or wrong, only the truth of your current state. If you feel open to share your current Mauri state in our chat. So just take a wee pause, have a breath, and think about where you're at today. And chuck it in the chat if you feel, or you can write it down on the side. And we will be revisiting this closer to the end of the wānanga. Cool. Everyone's feeling a little bit tired. Ngā mihi for checking in with honesty. This is not about changing your state. It's about noticing it with compassion. Well-being isn't something extra. It's woven into our values, relationships, environment, and the way we work every day. We're now going to explore a Kaupapa Māori wellbeing framework called Te Ao Rauropi, the Biosphere of Rongoā Māori. This model comes from Māori-led research and years of collective knowledge and lived experience. It reflects the understanding that well-being doesn't sit in one part of our life. It flows through everything. Rongoā isn't just a physical remedy. It is a way of being that supports our wairua, spirit, our relationships, our connection to the environment, our cultural identity, and our day-to-day balance. Even if you're not deeply familiar with the term rongoā, you may already be practicing it in the ways you pause, rest, breathe, reflect, or return to nature. Rongoā lives in action, in intention, and connection. The biosphere reminds us that well-being isn't something we add in when there's time. It's a foundation, something that shapes how we live, how we care, and how we show up for ourselves and each other. Whether in our workspaces, our homes, in our communities, before we explore the 8 elements of the biosphere, we'll begin by reconnecting with what Rongoā Māori really is, beyond the common definitions, and why it continues to offer such deep, grounded support for collective and personal well-being. Let's take this next part slowly with openness as we journey through the biosphere together. Let's begin our journey through the biosphere with what we call the korowai of protection, a metaphorical cloak made up of 4 essential threads: wairua, mauri, manaaki, and utu. These aren't abstract ideas. They are living values, ways of being that surround and support our well-being. Like a korowai, a cloak, they wrap around us with grounding, warmth, and protection. And just like a real cloak, when one thread is missing or frayed, we can feel it. We may feel exposed, unsettled, or disconnected at work, at home, or within ourselves. We start with wairua, the spiritual dimension. In Te Ao Māori, wairua is central to well-being. It shapes how we connect, how we feel, and how we find meaning. Yet in many workplaces, wairua is left out of the conversation. So ask yourself, is your wairua acknowledged where you spend your time? Is there room for stillness, for karakia, for quiet reflection? Or do you feel like that part of you must stay hidden? When our spiritual selves are welcomed, we can show up more fully and honestly in the spaces we work and lead. Next is Mauri, our life force, our energy. Mauri is dynamic. It shifts as we move through change, stress, or restoration. Is your Mauri respected by yourself and by others? Are you able to pause, recalibrate, or simply say, I need a moment? When workplaces honor Mauri, they honor people, not just output. Then we have manaaki, care. Not just politeness, but meaningful, reciprocal care. Are you cared for in your work environment? Do people check in with you, support you when you're stretched, or celebrate your contributions? And just as importantly, how do you show care to others? A culture of manaaki helps create trust, safety, and connection. And finally, utu, balance and reciprocity. Utu asks us to reflect, is there balance in the way we work and relate? Are our efforts recognized? Is care mutual? When Utu is present, relationships stay strong. When it's missing, we notice imbalance, and that can drain not only our energy but our trust in the system we're a part of. These four values, wairua, Mauri, manaaki, and utu, form a korowai that supports us through our mahi and our life journey. When we feel depleted or disconnected, often it's because one of these threads need tending. So let's pause here and reflect. What would it look like to strengthen your korowai, not just at mahi, but in all areas of your life? Could it be a karakia to open your day, setting clear boundaries around your energy, offering manaaki to someone quietly carrying a load? This is the true foundation of well-being, not a checklist, but a deeply relational, values-based system that nourishes us from the inside out. Let us carry that with us as we move into the next layer of the biosphere. The next element is ngā tangata, the people. This reminds us that we are all moving through life as a healing continuum. Some days we feel grounded, resourced, and connected. Other days we may feel depleted, uncertain, or under strain. Both are valid. And no matter where we sit on that spectrum, we remain part of a collective. Whether you're leading a team, supporting others quietly, balancing whānau life, or showing up just as you are always in relationships. We are shaped by those around us, and in turn, we shape the well-being of others. So let's take a moment to reflect. Who do you turn to when you need support without needing to explain yourself? Who quietly checks in on you, notices your energy, or reaches out just because? And who do you care for, whether through your mahi, your home life, or your presence? Who do you hold space for, encourage, uplift, even when no one is watching? These aren't small things. Healing doesn't happen in isolation. It happens through connection, in shared kōrero, and unexpected kindness, and silence that says, I see you. Ngā tangata reminds us that well-being is not built on personal strength alone. It's built in the quality of our relationships and how we support, listen, respond, and restore trust after challenges. What does relational well-being look like for you in your workplace, your whānau, or your community? Is it felt in the way people check in? Is how your voice is welcomed? And the way you care flows in both directions. When we nurture our connections, we uplift our collective Māori. Let's take that with us as we move through the next part of the biosphere. Tikanga. We now move into the next layer of the biosphere, tikanga cultural values. Tikanga is not something abstract or distant. It's lived. It's expressed through action, embedded in the ways that we interact, make decisions, and carry ourselves each day. You can see tikanga in how meetings begin and end, in how conflict is addressed, in how we show appreciation, extend respect, and uphold each other's dignity. And it's there in the quieter moments too, in the tone of a message, and who gets space to speak and who listens, and how we create room for different lived experience. It's reflected in our patience, our care, and the values we choose to live by, not just when it's easy, but especially when things are under pressure. Sometimes tikanga is misunderstood as being only about formal protocols, pōwhiri, karakia, waiata. And while those rituals are important, tikanga is also about how we hold integrity in everyday actions. It's about living our values, not only at mahi, but in whānau, in friendships, and in the wider communities we belong to. So take a moment to reflect. Are values like aroha love, whanaungatanga relationships, and manaakitanga care felt in your team, in your whānau, in your wider circles? Do these values show up even in times of stress or urgency, or do they get set aside for the sake of speed or outcomes? This happens in many spaces. When things get busy or stretched, tikanga can slip into the background. But when it does, we feel the loss of connection, of meaning, of trust. Whether in an organization or in everyday life, tikanga isn't something we save for special occasions. It belongs at the center, shaping how we care for one another, how we lead, and how we live well together. Which tikanga are already alive in your mahi, your whānau, your community? Where do you see dignity upheld, collective care practice, and space made for diverse voices? And what tikanga would you like to see nurtured more intentionally? Patience, reciprocity, humility, truth-telling. That holds space for growth. Upholding tikanga doesn't always mean major changes. Sometimes it begins with one consistent ritual, a karakia to ground the day, a moment of acknowledgement, a meaningful check-in. Tikanga is what brings heart, clarity, and integrity to the spaces we inhabit. Let's carry this forward as we move deeper into the biosphere. We now arrive at a deeply rooted and richly layered part of the biosphere, mātauranga Māori, Indigenous knowledge. Mātauranga Māori is more than a cultural knowledge. It is ancestral intelligence, a living, breathing body of wisdom passed down through generations. It includes the maramataka, the lunar calendar, pūrākau, ancestral narratives, whānau, stories, karakia, whakatauki, local histories, and the tikanga that surrounds them. But mātauranga isn't something reserved for ceremonies or special occasions. It's practical, it's relational, it's ecological. And it holds deep guidance, not just for our mahi, but for our everyday lives and personal well-being. So I invite you to consider, does mātauranga Māori guide your approach to well-being? Is it woven into how you plan, restore, reflect, and relate? Not only at work, but in your home, your whānau, your internal world. Where mātauranga is integrated meaningfully, it can reshape the way we are. Understand time, tuning into natural cycles rather than on the clock or calendar. Make decisions grounded in whakapapa values and collective well-being. Care for others, not from obligation, but with empathy and intergenerational awareness. Define success, not by outputs alone, but by how well we uphold wairua, kotahitanga, and manaakitanga. You may already be living this in subtle ways, following the maramataka to guide energy and rest, using whakatauki to center decisions or uplift others. Opening a day or gathering with karakia to ground your intentions. And there's always potential to go deeper, to allow mātauranga to become a quiet compass through pressure, change, growth, or uncertainty. Where could mātauranga Māori help guide better outcomes in your life? In how you restore your own mauri, and how you support your whānau, and how you hold space for growth, grief, or new beginnings. Mātauranga Māori does not belong in a silo. It belongs everywhere. It is not old knowledge. It is living knowledge. When we honor it, we reconnect to a line of wisdom that spans generations, and we plant the seeds of well-being for those yet to come. Let's hold this awareness as we move to the next part of this biosphere. Now we arrive at one of the most ancient and grounding elements of the biosphere, te taiao, the natural world. In te ao Māori, we are not separate from te taiao, we are a part of it. We are not above the land, the rivers, the skies. We are kin to them, bound by whakapapa and relationships. And yet, in modern life, at mahi work, with whānau, family, or simply moving through our busy routines, it's easy to forget that connection. We move from screen to screen, room to room, task to task, often without noticing the way the light changes, the way the wind shifts, or the sound of the manu outside our window. So let's pause and ask ourselves, how often do you step outside, even for a breath between meetings or moments? Do you take your cues from te taiao, the weather, the moon, the bush, the birds? When te taiao whispers or roars, do you take notice? The maramataka, our Māori lunar calendar, reminds us that nature is always in conservation. Each phase holds tohu signs that guide us when to act, when to pause, when to harvest, and when to rest. Just as the whenua has seasons, so do we. You might feel this calibration in quiet, grounding ways. Sitting beneath a rako during your lunch break, feeling the wind after a heavy kōrero, letting the sunset slow your breath. This is not indulgence, it is restoration. When we reconnect with te taiao, we return to ourselves. We remember our rhythm, we remember our place, and we create space for true Mauri Ora to emerge. Let's carry the presence of te taiao with us as a guide and a companion through the rest of our biosphere journey. As we continue, we arrive at whakapapa, the layer that anchors us, especially in times of transition or change. Whakapapa is more than a record of names. It is more than a family tree. It is the living story of how you came to be, the people, places, experiences, struggles, and dreams that shape you. It reminds us that we are never isolated, even when life shifts. Whether you in a role, between roles, or stepping into something unknown, you are still part of a larger journey. Your value doesn't begin or end with a job title. It lives in the kaupapa you carry and the mauri you continue to uplift. In a work context, whakapapa reminds us that even small acts matter. A kind check-in might restore someone's confidence. A well-framed report might influence long-term change. A moment of guidance might open a new path for someone else. Outside of work, whakapapa grounds us just as deeply in the values handed down by our whānau, in the resilience of your tupuna, in the aspirations you hold for your tamariki and mokopuna. It's these threads, visible or unseen, that connect our present to our past and guide our steps forward. What part of your whakapapa fuels your purpose? In mahi and whānau life, or simply in how you move through the world? Is it a tupuna whose courage you carry, a teaching you return to, a dream you're holding for the generations to come? When the ground shifts, whakapapa reminds us that we still belong, that we are held by more than roles or outcomes. We are part of a story that continues through us. Let's carry that grounding with us as we move into the final elements of the biosphere. We now turn to a powerful and sometimes overlooked part of the biosphere, toi Māori, creative expression. Creativity is rongoā. It is healing, it is storytelling, it is reconnection. In Te Ao Māori, the arts were never separate from well-being. They were and still are central to how we express, process, and restore. Toi Māori includes rāranga weaving, waiata song, taonga pūoro, traditional instruments, moko, kapahaka, ko whaiwhai, and also more modern forms of expression like journaling, sketching, movement photography, songwriting, spoken word, and more. Sometimes when our wairua is heavy, our hinengaro is full. Creativity steps in where words fall short. A song helps emotions move. Weaving grounds us through the hands. A journal entry gives form to what was unnamed. This isn't a separate part of life or mahi, it's essential. Creativity lets the Māori move. It helps us shift, express, and release what logic can't always hold. So let's reflect together. How might you bring more space for toi Māori or creative expression in any form into your rhythm? A waiata to begin a hui, a quick doodle while thinking, free writing before a strategy session. Toi isn't about talent. It's about Māori in motion, about restoration in action. What's one creative outlet that restores your balance, even in small ways? Is it singing in the car, doodling ideas, dancing in the kitchen? Let it be part of your way of being, not something you earn after the real work is done. Toi is real work. It connects us to joy, memory, meaning, and parts of ourselves we may have forgotten. Let's honour that as we move now into the final layer of the biosphere, the grounding everyday practices of Rongoā Māori. As we've explored, restoring our Māori doesn't require grand gestures. It lives in the small, deliberate acts that reconnect us to ourselves, to each other, and to te taiao. A waiata shared, a breath taken before a meeting, a creative outlet honoured after a long day. These are not just tasks, they are rituals. Repeated with intention, they sustain our hauora over time. They anchor us through change, they nourish us during uncertainty, and they build resilience, not loudly, but quietly, moment by moment. Now we move into the final element of the biosphere. We turn to rongoā practices, the everyday healing rituals that surround us, often simple, often overlooked, but always close and always powerful. Let's explore what they look like in action and how they might live more intentionally in our daily life. I'm going to need a drink of water. Okay. Excuse me. We've now arrived at the final layer of the biosphere, rongoā practices, healing rituals. This is where everything we've explored comes together, not just as ideas, but as actions, small deliberate practices that help us restore, recalibrate, and reconnect every day. And the truth is, many of us are already using rongoā, even if we don't always name it as such. You might already be practicing rongoā when you make a warm tea to soothe your mental mind, your hinengaro after a tense hui, taking deep breaths before stepping into a difficult conversation, whispering a karakia in the car before walking into a full room. These are not small things. These are acts of restoration. These are rongoā. And when we recognize them as such, we give ourselves permission to protect them and to prioritize them, not just when things fall apart, but as part of our everyday rhythm. Because the rongoā is not only about healing, it's about rhythm, it's about alignment, it's about remembering that healing is not a one-off event, it's something we live. So what healing practices do you want to normalize in your daily rhythm? What small rituals help you return to yourself, even on busy or challenging days? Take a moment to think about it. You might even like to write it down, not as pressure, not as a goal, but as a gentle commitment to your own hauora. Let us hold this final reminder. Rongoā is not only something we receive, it is something we practice. A moment of stillness, a shared breath, a cup of tea, a karakia in the morning. These are acts of self-care, acts of resistance, acts of reclamation. Let's carry that with us as we begin to gently close our wānanga. Who will? So we're going to take a moment to breathe together. He hauora o te hā. Breath is medicine. This is an invitation to come home to your body, to return to your hā, your breath, and to the Māori that lives within you. You don't need to do anything special, just be here. Bring your presence, let your breath guide you. So if it feels safe and comfortable to do so, you can lie down or stay in your chair. Get into a nice comfortable position and close your eyes. Gently close your eyes. Place your feet flat on the ground if you're in a chair, or just lie gently. Let your hands rest lightly on your lap or your puku. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. Let your mind settle. Let's begin. Ha ki roto. Breathe in through the nose. Hold gently. Ha ki waho. Breathe out through the mouth. And again. Ha ki roto. Hold. Ha ki waho. As you breathe, continue your breathing as I continue to read. Imagine your ha like a tide, rising and falling like the moana. No need to force it. Just observe. Welcome each breath. Every ha ki roto, drawing in clarity, calm, Mauri Ora. Every ha ki waho, letting go of tension, heaviness, Mauri moi. Now bring your awareness to the whenua beneath you. Even if you're inside, feel the ground holding you, steady, alive, patient. With every breath, feel yourself reconnecting, grounded in te taiao, the natural world. Bring to mind one word or feeling that you'd like to invite in with your breath. It might be calm, strength, release, or trust. Let that word move with the ha ki roto. Let it settle with the ha ki waho. Repeat this rhythm slowly and gently. Ha ki roto, calling it in. Ha ki waho, settling it into your body. Ha ki roto. Ha ki waho. Let's do a gentle scan of the tinana. Continue with your breath on your own. Feel your feet grounded and steady. Your legs held and supported. Your torso rising and falling with each breath. Your shoulders releasing. Your face soft at ease. Your wairua calm, reconnected. Now say quietly to yourself, ha ki roto, he Mauri tōku. I carry life force. Ha ki waho, kei te ora o. I am alive. He Mauri tōku. Kei te ora o. Let the ha be your karakia. Let the breath do the clearing. Now begin to return gently to the space around you. Wiggle your toes and fingers. Roll your shoulders slowly. Take one final breath in, ha ki roto, and sigh it out, ha ki waho. When you're ready, open your eyes. Nō reira, kia tau te Mauri. Let your Mauri be steady. Let your mind be light. Let your wairua be restored. Let's return now to your Mauri, your energy, your life force. You've listened, reflected, and perhaps softened a little. Has anything shifted even slightly? Once again, bring your awareness inward and ask yourself, how is my body now? What is my wairua spirit saying? What is my breath doing? Take a moment, feel into it. Now choose the Mauri state that feels most true in this moment. And feel free to share the state in our chat again. Mauri moi, a restful or low energy state. You may feel quiet, heavy, or needing rest. Mauri oho, a rising state. You may feel reflective, adjusting, or gently activating. Mauri Ora, a vibrant state. You may feel energized, connected, or open to engagement. There's no expectation to be anywhere other than where you are. There's no goal to improve, only an invitation to notice and honor what is. This is what real self-care begins with. Awareness, acknowledgement, compassion. Yay! Good to see some people's energies moving up a wee bit. Just a little bit of breath work. Funny how that, hey? So, as we close this wānanga, and we take our slow, steady breath and reflect on what we've remembered together. These were not new teachings, they are ancient truths. Sometimes we simply need space to return to them, to reconnect with what already lives quietly within us. Here are three three reminders to carry forward. You don't need to be at your peak to be in Mauri Tau. Even when your energy is low or your wairua feels tender, you are still in alignment. Mauri doesn't need to be high or busy to be valuable. Like the moon phase kore, there is strength in stillness and preparation in slow movement. Rest is not a retreat, it is a rhythm. Well-being isn't an add-on, it's a living system. Well-being is not something separate from work, whānau, or community. It's woven into your values, your relationships, and the way you live and lead each day. It's not something to fit in. It's something to return to. And lasting Mauri Ora begins with small rituals. Healing starts with small, consistent acts, a conscious breath, a karakia whispered before hui, a softened tone before a reply, a walk in the ngahere forest between tasks. These are not small, they are anchors. Whatever you choose to carry forward, let it be simply. Let it be true. Let it nourish your journey. Let this wānanga be the seed and let your daily rhythm become the garden. And now we're opening up the floor for questions.
Kia ora, Candace. Thank you. If anybody's got any questions, feel free to chuck them in the chat now, or there's also the Q&A function if you'd like to use that. Oh, I've just had one come through. Are
Okay.
there any apps or websites that we can use to discover and bring rongoā into our everyday life?
Yes. Yep. There's some amazing tohunga who share a lot of their mātauranga online. Some that come to mind, well, me, I have a lot of stuff online. So if you go find our website and join our online community, I have been collating a lot of the things that I've been that so we can share certain rituals and things about just overall hauora and well-being. The other is if you have a particular interest in the Rongoā rākau, there's Joanne Hakaraia Olsen. She has a YouTube channel and you can go learn all about Mauri and the the trees from her. There's it depends on in what context really, because there are courses and things also available to study. So I've just finished a 16-week course with Mahia Atua, and that's Dr. Diane Kopua and Mark Kopua, who are both created a whole course where you study pūrākau, and it's actually amazing. It's all about the Atua pūrākau. And Diane is a psychiatrist, so it's actually put into an organizational change thing as well. So yeah, they're like it depends on what aspect of why you wanted to find information on, but there are people out there. Also, there's Hini Hotarini, who is the maramataka wahine. She's amazing. I really recommend getting just a full year maramataka calendar. Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. And I track my periods using an app called Airhore, which is a maramataka ikora tracking app as well, which is like really cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Cool. Thanks for sharing those, Candace. That'll be super helpful.
yeah.
Another question, how to know the difference between allowing yourself to rest and just being lazy?
Yeah, like it's always just really subjective, isn't it? It's like it's trying to work out, are you mentally tired or physically tired, or what kind of tired you actually are. Often the way that me and my friends, because we utilize the maramataka, if we're feeling a certain way and then it's confirmed that by our external environment via the maramataka, that explains some things, then we might push ourselves a little bit less. When we also, like as wahine, we track our menstrual cycles, so we'll know, like, if it's a kore phase and we're in our luteal phase and we're premenstrual, that's probably tired, like real tired, not lazy.
Yeah, for sure.
For our tane, it's going to be similar. Be aware of what is happening in your whole environment. Have you got stress at home? Have you got stress at work? If you tick all the boxes for stress everywhere, then you're probably tired and you're probably not being lazy. But if everything else is fine and you're just like, oh, probably lazy. Yeah, it's like being more in touch with yourself. It's
Mm,
an inward journey.
for
Yeah.
sure. Thanks, Candace. Cool. Got another one. Can you recommend a great entry point to the maramataka?
Yeah, I think like can I make my thing unblurry? Oh yeah. Okay. That's my office. But that there I don't know if this is an entry point because I'm a little bit extra, but that is the maramataka in a year calendar. And I love it because we all should use a calendar if we want to be, you know, on organized. But it has everything on there, and you can, we plan our wānanga according to the maramataka. everything goes into our calendar, and we'll shift things if it's not in the right phase for what we need to do. Yeah, so that's a good one. And that's the one that you get from Hini Hotarini. It's her website's called maramataka.org. Yeah, something like that. And I highly recommend using that. There are some free ones you can get from All Right, but yeah, the year calendar definitely is probably the easiest to integrate. Especially if you have a busy life, especially if things get planned over a long period of time, if you're 6 months ahead planning, then it's great for that too. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Candace. Another one. Any tips for moving towards stillness when the concept is very foreign?
Moving towards stillness. I think sometimes we put, like, I know because I've come from a health and wellness background prior to doing rongoā, that we think of it as like being yoga and breath work and meditation. And then I meet a lot of people that like, I can't meditate. And I was like, and I totally get that. I think it's because we think we're meant to be sitting there thinking nothing, but that's not true for many of us. Being still is being intensely present. And to be intensely present, sometimes that means moving your thoughts into noticing what is around you. And you can still be inside and just look at the wall and look at all the stains on the wall. Don't do that if you're an OCD. If you're intensely looking at something, like if I look at my TV at my laptop right now, I can see that it's silver. It's got black keys. If I'm describing all of that in my thinking mind, I'm looking at what I'm doing, and I'm breathing, and that's how I stop myself. I'm thinking about, like, did I turn the washer on? And yeah, that's an example of how to be still is to be present. So it might be taking 5 minutes to just lie on the floor, or take 5 deep breaths before walking into something. I think people also think they need to be doing it for an hour. It's like, it might actually be 30 seconds of breath before you go somewhere, and that snap. That's a moment of stillness and of being present that can recalibrate your Māori in a moment.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I have another question. Do you need to be Māori to get the most out of rongoā? Like,
No, I don't think so. I mean, no. I think that, like, inherently we could all do with being aware of our environment and trying to live more in tune with it. And I think that the hustle culture and being productive all the time, and that has really, like, not served us as a human race. And we've ended up having, like, chronic health problems that are just out the gate, mental health issues that we can't, control. And all of it is really layered upon this idea that we're not fully in our society. We're not full helpful beings in society if we're not hustling to, like, make money and be the most productive thing in the world. And actually, in Te Ao Māori, that's not our goal.
yeah, for sure.
And I think everybody could do with having that, taking away from the idea that capitalism is all we have to do.
Yeah, 100% agree. Cool. There was another question in here just about a copy of the recording. So we will send that out in a newsletter that'll be going out later this week. So, and if you don't want to wait for that, feel free to flick us an email through, and I can send that through to you directly once it's all ready to go. Cool. It doesn't look like we've got any more questions. If you'd like to close us off, Candace.
So we'll close off with karakia. Kia tau te rangi Māori e, kia rere te Mauri Ora, kia ki te aroha, kia tūturu, whakamāua kia tīna. Hei Mauri Ora. Cool. Ngā mihi to everybody for coming along. And thank you, Marissa.